Hello, everybody, and welcome to Road America, host of round 2 of the SRL Stock Car Series Championship. It's make or break time for most of these drivers as we gear up for the final road course race of the season. And what better circuit to be at than Road America? Built on the side of a lake in the state of Wisconsin, this monstrous 6.5 kilometer or 4-mile circuit and its 14 corners are revered amongst all for its elevation changes and its enormous demand for technicality and precision, with little to no runoff featured throughout the circuit. Oh, and it's the narrowest track on the calendar, so expect a lot of spills amongst the many thrills here tonight. My name is James Smith, and alongside me in the commentary box today is the expert himself, Mr. Jacob Reed. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing very good. Looking forward to a hopefully much cleaner race this time than this time 2 weeks ago, and then hopefully we get at least at the front just as good as a battle as we did before.
Yeah, Watkins Glen was a bit chaotic. The racing at the front, at least, was fantastic to watch, but at the back, a few things could have gone better, and hopefully the admin team would have ironed those out. But we are ready to go for qualifying, 10-minute qualifying session, which will determine the order for the race. And it's going to be it's quite a long lap around here. I think we might even hit the 2-minute mark. Because you got 6.5 kilometers to go around. But yeah, this track is a favourite amongst especially spectators. I mean, the drivers would love it more if it wasn't so hard, I think. But it's excellent to watch any car go through here.
Oh, of course, it's such a interesting track. You have long corners, but also long straights, and with these and heavy braking zones as well. So it's got a bit of everything, and that just makes it really difficult, especially in these heavy stock cars, to wrestle them around this very, very long and narrow track.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's that's probably one of the reasons that we had so much leeway on the runoff last time. It's because these cars are pretty, I'd say, boaty is a kind of informal way of saying it. More very understeery. Needs a lot of lock, but here, no need to really enforce any track limits because, well, if you go off the circuit, you're on the grass or gravel because. There's not much runoff on this circuit, which is one of the reasons why most of the fastest motorsport characters like Formula 1 aren't even considering visiting here. I mean, I'd love to see an F1 car rip around this track, but very low chance we'll see any of that. You could see it coming up even the pit lane entry is difficult here. It's a blind entry, and then you have to turn once you've gone over the crest and slow it down for the line. I'm going to say at least one person's going to mess that up. But anyway, to the actual track now. Qualifying is underway. We have 5.5 minutes of it left, and currently Ivan Leonov has put his Netrex on pole position. Was in a titanic battle with his teammate Carlos Martin for the entirety of the last race, and Martin just held on to take the victory. He'll be looking to get his second pole position and win, of course, having wrapped up both of them last time out. Didn't quite manage the Grand Slam, though. Stoyan Barbakov goes 5th. I think Barbakov has a bit to prove this week after not the best performance last time out. Granted, he was quite unlucky with incidents, but I think he's going to be one to watch. But who do you think is going to get pole, Jacob?
Well, looking at it right now, I think definitely Leonov, because he's got already 4/10 advantage, and we're not going to be able to get that many more laps in from each of these drivers due to it being a 2-minute 4 minutes to do an outlap and then actual lap. So these drivers basically have 2 attempts at a lap if you want to pit in between and get new tyres. So Leonov's got a massive advantage already. It's not like Watkins Glen where it's a minute lap and you just kind of keep putting them out and hope that one of them's good. You've really got to nail these laps, and Leonov's done that off the mark, which is impressive and definitely puts him in a really good position into these last 4 minutes.
Here's the Netrex new boy, Jake Dennehan, had a power cut, which only just finished itself up about 20 minutes before the session started, so that was already a bit of a heart-in-mouth moment before the session even started, but he'll be one to watch. But yeah, as you said, Leonov, that's a very, very fast lap, and it's almost at the 2-minute mark, but it's in the 1-minute 50s. So we're almost there. But yeah, he's pretty clear of the rest, and he might well not even have to do another lap. We'll see. Denahan
He is out there on the track on his outlap, so he will be doing another. And this lap by Jake Denahan is just a little bit slower than Leonov, but it's still a decent lap. I think he had
it looks pretty good.
Time invalidated last time because he did cross the line with a time, but it never went through. So I'm gonna guess that he cut his last lap and he's going for a second run. So he's gonna cut it fine when he gets back around for his second run, which I'm gonna assume he's gonna pull off and escape after this lap. And
could have been tidier through Canada corner, and the following what was good for the final corner goes fifth fastest, just behind the other Netrex of Viktor Ivanov. The Netrex is up front, split by Owen McGougy and George Whitehouse. Owen McGougy agonizingly having that tyre problem on the last race, dropping him a couple of positions down on the last lap. It was a shame for him, but the pace is there clearly, and this is a great chance for him as well, because a lot of the guys who were at the front last race have not been able to attend today. Here's Eric Kumade coming round the last corner in that bright yellow Valet, and over the hill, underneath the gantry and across the line. Where does he put the car? Only 11th fastest for him, so he slots in behind Harry Smith. I'm sure he can do better than that. Here's Viktor Ivanov on a lap, improving in the first sector, but still, we haven't seen a single one of those bars flash purple, which means you've set the fastest sector of anybody, which I think all belong to Ivan Leonov as it is right now. Here he comes through the kink, the revered kink, and the kink is so difficult in these cars. In an Indy car or something, it's pretty much flat, no problem. But in these NASCARs, it's probably the most difficult corner on the track to get right every time.
It's good, but you're speaking of purples, we've just had George
we just had one.
A massive middle sector, 2/10 up on Leonov.
He has to just keep it clean, bit of grass.
Power,
bit of grass kicked up under the gantry over the crest. Here he comes to the line. Where does George Whitehouse go? It's pole. It's pole position for George Whitehouse as it stands right now with just under 1.5 minutes to go in the session.
That's
so
a very impressive lap.
I think he's back. Yeah, he's backed off on this one. So I think he's done for qualifying. That's his effort. And now we wait to see what everyone else can do. Here's Giuseppe Stella coming through the last few corners now, a bit wide.
Through there.
Didn't carry as much speed as he would have liked to, and now through the last corner, he's gone for a spin. He's off the circuit, and that's his qualifying over. So he's not going to get any higher than 16th. Here's his teammate, also coming for the last corner. Again, it's not very tidy, but at least she makes it.
Yeah, it was very wobbly, kind of hesitant on the turn-in. And it's going to hurt your speed all the way down this front straight, and
cross the line.
Be a great lap.
Yeah, it's 15th fastest. So a bit of a fight between the two teammates at the bottom of the standings. Here is Joe Alsteditz. I can never say his name properly. Across the line, and he stays 7th. Was faster in Sector 2 than his best lap, but Sector 1 and Sector 3 letting him down.
Doesn't look like we've got anyone on a lap at the moment.
It might well be Whitehouse's pole position there, because I think McGougy and Ivanov are both in the pits. Here's Stoyan Barbakov. Could he pull something out of the hat here? The FSR driver. Can he do anything to get himself up the order? His Sector 2 is down, though. 42.261 in the Sector 2 as the checkered flag falls on qualifying. Barbakov's got 2 more corners to go. This is a tough one here through turn 13. It's flat in most cars, but these ones, again, you've got to be gentle and careful, and he keeps it within the track boundaries. Looking good from Barbakov through there. Now the last corner. Nice apex. Can't run too wide, though. It's almost perfect through that last corner from Barbakov. And now the run up towards the line. You want to get your car as straight as possible over that crest. And up to the line he comes. He goes 5th fastest. Breaks it into the top 5. And demotes Denahan out of it and down to 6th place. I think he'll be pretty satisfied with that. But it looks like with no one else on in a lap.
We've still got a few cars. We've got Leonov and this car right here, Alex Hallows.
Alex Hallows. I don't know where Leonov is on track.
An impressive first sector, I think. Well, a personal best.
He's currently...
Yeah, I've read that wrong. But I was comparing it to Leonov's Sector 1, which I think he's made a mistake on, and they're ending up identical first sectors. So yeah, so it's still an improvement for Alex Hallows, only 1.3 down, and he's currently 3.5 seconds off. So I think it will take
down in Sector 2 for the Ozone Man.
But yeah, it's still not going to be maybe a top 10 lap.
It might be. He didn't look. He looked a bit too tight through Canada corner there, and now the last corner.
Very tight through that final corner. Actually.
Yeah, also very tight through the last corner.
All the way down the straight. And
it's a long straight. This one. It's a very long straight. Yeah, it's a very long straight. These cars, the old kart cars and Indy cars can reach 200 miles an hour on this straight, and he only improves one position. And Ivan Leonov hasn't improved, so it's George Whitehouse who takes, I think what has to be said, quite a surprising pole position. As Denahan goes third, right at the end of the session. Right at the death, he goes up to third.
Completely missed that lap, and really good job for Denahan.
So Netrex for the first time... for the first time in a championship, have not taken a pole position. They didn't take it at the Indy 250, but that was a one-off event. I think they clean swept the Italian F3 Championship, getting pole in every race. They're not on pole today because George Whitehouse has plopped his car there instead. Mega effort from him. So here's your standings. George Whitehouse on pole position, 159.7. Only one of two drivers to creep into the 159s. Ivan Leonov, 1.5 tenths behind. Then it's a 3-tenth gap back to Denahan in third. Owen McGaugy, George Whitehouse's teammate, in fourth. And Victor Ivanov, fifth. Stoyan Barbakov, much improved from last week, in sixth. And also much improved from Joe Gausditz, who's seventh. Jürgen van Bergen for Brem GP, eighth. Sean Jones, ninth. And Diogo Moscato will round out the top 10 in 10th place, but he's 3 seconds off the pole. I mean, it's close in the top 6, and then it's a huge gap down to Joe, and it only gets bigger the further down you go.
Yeah, but consistent. That's the long track. You know, if you think Watkins Glen, we have such a small track, and half a second at Watkins Glen ends up being 3 seconds when you almost double the distance of the track layout.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, consistency will be the key for this race more than pace. You need to find a balance, but you can't be going off every other lap and spinning it. Harry Smith, 11th place. Alex Harlow's 12th. Eric Mendes Valet, 13th. Alfie Bevan, 14th. Elie Pelliot, 15th. Kevin Vichers, 16th. And Giuseppe Stella rounds out the grid in 17th. That's very unfortunate for him. Of course, 17's an unlucky number in Italy, so I don't think he'll be that's another... I think you won't be too pleased about qualifying there. So, warm-up session, and then we'll have the formation lap, and then go to the race. Not as many cars as at Watkins Glen. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I mean, there's less potential for big crashes, but, I mean, you always want to see more cars because there's obviously a bigger potential for some great racing, but Road America should provide that nonetheless. Look, you can see how steep the crest there is in the pit lane on the right-hand side as well. That's why it's so difficult.
Yeah, because you come out the pit lane, and then right almost at the top is you've got to slow down. So it kind of helps you, the hill, because obviously you're working against gravity, but it's really difficult to kind of judge the distance you need to slow down for, and then you end up usually overshooting and getting yourself a drive-through penalty, or slowing down way too early and getting hit from behind. It's a really difficult pit lane to master, and I think we're going to see some drivers try and practice that in this warm-up session.
Yeah, we saw a lot of drive-through penalties last time out at Watkins Glen. That's a much more straightforward pit entrance than this one. That's Leonov going over the crest. But this is a huge chance for, especially Leonov, to gain some points on Carlos Martin, the championship leader, who is not present here today so far. Maybe he will join during the sort of, even if he does, he will start from the back of the grid. And Road America is not the easiest place to overtake on with its narrow layout. And if you go for an inside move and you miss your braking point, you're going off into the grass or gravel or somewhere else that's not very pleasant and not where you would want to be. Another feature of this track that's quite famous, the carousel. You can see it on the track map on the top left, that long, never-ending right-hander. But it's a critical corner because it leads on to the flat-out blast, or almost flat-out blast, because of the kink down towards Canada corner at turn 11. It's a very difficult corner to get right there, and if anyone pulls a pass through there, then they've got to really put a lot of trust in the car that it's not going to lose its grip. But 20 laps around Road America Up ahead of us will be around a 40-minute race. And, one thing we haven't talked about yet is the pit stop strategy. Now, at Watkins Glen, we saw 2 or 3 stops. The leaders did 2, but most people did 3. I would say Road America is probably as demanding, if not more demanding, on the tyres. So it'll be interesting to see what happens regarding strategy. I still think it will be 2 stops for the leaders, though.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to make as few as stops as possible, because if you think that the pit lane is pretty much this entire straight, so you lose an awful lot of time being stuck at pit lane speed limit compared to all the other cars being able to floor it down the really long straight as opposed to the slightly long straight at Watkins Glen. So you lose a lot more time, and that's just time that you're going to have to make back up on the track. And even if it's mathematically faster for a 3-stop, you've got to pass cars that haven't pitted, and then that can lose you even more time.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's the challenge of this circuit. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this race. I predicted in my article that this would be the best race of the year. I think I got it right last year in saying Mugello. I think most people would say that. We'll see if I get it right 2 championships in a row. Warm-up is almost finished, though, and we will be ready to go for the formation lap and subsequent race, of course, which is, I think, what we're all here to see. But yeah, last road course race before we move to the 2 ovals. Now, I'm not huge on NASCAR, so how much of a difference is going from road courses to ovals? What's the change in racecraft and how you approach it and how you race?
It is completely different. There's not one thing that you can take from road course racing and take to oval racing, and vice versa. It's like just a completely different category as such, because everything is just almost the opposite as such, because you're going to this
a bit early, yeah.
But yeah, as I was saying, with the ovals, you don't have to worry about the track as such, because we're going to 2 plate tracks in Talladega and Daytona, so you're pretty much flat out the entire race. You just got to worry about the cars around you and your momentum, which isn't something you always have to think about in road course racing, is momentum, and keeping that up throughout not just a lap but the entire race. So that's probably the biggest difference, is momentum, as we start the formation lap here.
Yeah, green flag being waved, and the formation, probably very long formation lap gets underway. George Whitehouse leading the field. It's a narrow circuit, this one. You can even see it on the start-finish straight. You could hardly go 3 wide down this thing, and it's now it's a bit wider because the pit lane rejoins the circuit. But yeah, here's your look through the order again. But I guess when you're speaking of momentum on oval races, I guess, because let's say you have a moment and you lose you slide a bit out of the last corner at a track like this, you'll lose 1, 2, maybe 3 positions. You do it in an oval, you could lose 10 positions if you're unlucky.
Oh, more. You'd go to the back as soon as you lose momentum and kind of get out of position. You're just gonna get freight trained, and everyone will go past you. You'll be lucky to, I think, the smartest choice in that situation is to go to the back. That's what you've got to do. If you mess up, just get out of everyone's way, because if you don't, they're just going to drive through you.
And you might end up losing even more time, or losing time to the guys ahead, and then you won't have a tow, which is so critical here, because there's no real effect of dirty air, because you're flat all the way through anyway. Coming underneath the Corvette gantry here. It's actually a bridge. Every overpass on this circuit, apart from the one on the start-finish straight, is a bridge, rather than just a simple gantry. But yeah. Which corner do you think turn 1 or Canada corner will have more overtakes?
I think turn 1.
Turn 1's a safe bet.
Actually, I think Canada corner, because I don't know, it's tough. Because usually I'd say turn 1, but with the kink being not flat out in these heavy cars with little downforce, I think that you can make a mistake through the kink, and you can really gain time throughout the rest of the straight compared to a normal, let's say an Indy car. You're exiting the carousel, and then that's kind of your setup for Canada Corner. Whereas in this, the kink is your setup for Canada Corner, so it could be an easier place to overtake, especially with the braking zone also not being completely straight, as you see there with it goes to the left, and it's very easy to mess up, lock up, and just run deep into that. It's quite forgiving runoff, but you're still going to lose time.
Yeah, it's about 400. It's about 450, 500 meters from when you make that very small left kink to the actual corner. These guys will be braking literally as they round it, so before the 400-meter ball, but not mid-corner, because you're going to lock your wheels up enormously. But now the leader's coming around the last corner for the rolling start at Road America. Now, cautions are a thing this race, which is different from last one, and race director Anthony Nippon will notify the drivers of a caution, and then it's a race back and waiting for the instance to clear. And we are underway. The green flag is waved, and it's an absolutely perfect start from George Whitehouse. Excellent launch off the green flag, but he's immediately going to come under pressure from Leonov, slipstreaming him down towards the first corner. But no, he's going to hold his lead, and Danahan instead is going to pressure Leonov into the first corner, but Leonov turns in and holds second place. It looks clean at the back as well, as Magauji passes Danahan for third place. So that team now have 2 cars on the podium, but absolutely perfect from Whitehouse, and he's cleared a significant amount of slipstream from the cars right a bit further back. There's grass being kicked up all over the place. 2 AFP cars, 2 AFP cars very close together. One of them going off and wide. That was Moscato, I believe, having a moment there as Gaussiditz and Smith. Gaussiditz is being swallowed here. Moscato goes down the inside. That's very aggressive, and then they make contact. There's a car on the gravel as well who's completely done that by himself, but he's going to lose places as well. Moscato punting into Smith there, just missing his brake. Someone got turned around. Big incident coming over the crest at turn 6, and that might well be a caution. Cars all over the road. Gaussiditz involved. One of the AFPs is facing backwards. I think that's Sean Jones. It's Sean Jones, the American, facing the wrong way. Gets going again, which is good to see. Everyone is still in this race, but he'll surely have a bit of damage. The leaders, meanwhile, have made their way through and past the carousel. Someone else has gone off in Sector 2, but that's been cleared up. George Whitehouse still maintains the lead. Got an absolutely perfect start and was able to get such a good start. He was able to cover off the threat of the slipstream coming down towards turn 1. And now through Canada Corner, unless he makes a big mistake in the next few corners, he'll have led the entire lap. But Leonov has been in this position before, right up behind the leader, except this time it's not a teammate, it's a rival. Well, teammates can be rivals, but it's a different scenario for him this time. And he's also got a car right up behind him, Owen Magauji, who's looked fast all weekend. And he's right up behind Leonov. Leonov has a bit of a moment there, holding the middle of the road. And Danahan under pressure from Stoyan Barbakov as well, going right to the inside is the Netrex car, forcing Magauji to go the long way around. Can Owen Magauji do this, going round the outside of the first corner? He's later on the brakes, and he's swept past into the first corner. The teammates are 1 and 2 at the start of lap number 2 of this race. Ignore the delta because, of course, the formation lap was counted as 1. So this is lap 2 of 20 rather than lap 3 of 21. And Barbakov was not able to pass Danahan, who in fact is going to put his teammate under pressure now, coming down towards turn 5. Is Danahan going to go to the inside? No, he backs out of it.
Respectful of his teammate. Maybe if it was Danahan trying to overtake Barbakov, for example, he would have gone for it. But with it being his teammate, he just on lap 3 or lap 2, sorry, he just kind of lifted off and let his teammate try and gain some time. We had
in his first race for the team as well. Yeah, I think Gaussiditz has entered the pit lane, and behind Kevin Veachers with a moment. That's coming out of turn 6, I believe, and he loses the place then to Giuseppe Stella through there, and he's immediately trying to regain that place, moving very erratically as they approach the carousel, bumping over the curves and almost losing control. And now he's trying to go down the inside. He's trying to go down the inside. They're both squirming all over the circuit. He's got the door wide open though, but I don't know if he's going to be able to pull this one off. Who's got the better momentum?
And he's
still got the inside line for the kink. Yeah, he gets it before the kink. Even if he didn't, he had the inside line. And I think if you're on the outside coming into this corner, you want to back out. And Barbakov has now passed Denahan. So Barbakov passes the Netrex and is up into the top 4. Denahan went from attacking his teammate to losing the place. So
yeah, must have lost some time in his teammate's dirty air through the carousel or the kink, and Barbakov's just been able to get a better run out the kink and got him on the inside into Canada corner.
And Kevin Vietris has been given the first penalty of the race, which you saw at the top of your screen. And Leonov is close to the back of Magauji, but not close enough for a move to the first corner. Barbakov's got a bit of a gap behind. Oh, that's a big moment there as Denahan goes off the track a little bit, but will still have gone faster than Barbakov did through the first corner. Now turn 2, so we might well have 2 battles going on, one up ahead and one here. Denahan's been in this position before on the last lap, but this time, as you said, it's not his teammate, it's Stoyan Barbakov. Is he going to go for it into turn 5? I think he's a bit too far back to go for this one. Although he's got a lot of closing speed and he feints to the inside, but then goes back to the race, and I think's better of it. Maybe we'll try the other way, the old-fashioned way, forcing Barbakov into a mistake, as Magauji held his position from Leonov as well, but those two are much closer. Look how close Leonov is through turn 6 and into turn 7.
Yeah, he was right behind him there, and there's no real place to overtake, so he just has ended up losing time on his exit speed, and that's kind of put Barbakov in the mix as well. So all these 4 drivers
and Denahan
are really going at it. Yeah,
it's such a narrow track. It's so difficult to pass on a wide track if it was the same corner compass, let alone on this one. And this is all allowing Magauji's teammate George Whitehouse to disappear off to the distance, and Barbakov and Denahan as well, both kicking up a bit of grass. And you're still turning at that point, so it's quite easy to lose the rear through there. Leonov again close coming into Canada corner, but cannot make the move stick. Will look for the exit speed and maybe go for it into the last corner, but he's got his mirrors full of red as well. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. Someone's had an incident behind, and Leonov was slow. Leonov was very slow coming through turn 13 there, and Barbakov is all over it. And Denahan too. Denahan might well get an opportunity here as well. He's going to get a double toe. This could get very exciting. This could get very, very exciting into the first corner and even into turn 5, but they can hold their gaps.
Even
and if anything,
Magauji
Denahan's
could be under pressure here. Magauji defends
They might go
inside.
3 wide here. They might go 3 wide. Barbakov's trying to go around the outside, and Leonov will go for the switchback. Denahan's right there, though. Leonov runs wide, and Barbakov is now side by side with the Netrex car trying to go around the outside at turn 2. That's an opportunistic one, and he indeed backs out of it, looking for a better exit. A bit squirmish, though, as he puts the power down. Wants to do it early and wants to clear this car and have a go himself at Leonov, who's close to Magauji. Leonov might well fancy this one as these two go side by side. And up ahead, Leonov's not going to go for that one as Denahan tries the outside route again. A bit of contact as they break for the corner, and Barbakov once again holding firm with that inside line. And Leonov has found the inside on Magauji coming into turn 6 and gets ahead.
And here comes Barbakov as
Magauji,
well,
and here comes
and he's
Barbakov.
had to back out of it before this king.
He backs out of it, but Leonov, the lion, is now released to go and hunt down George Whitehouse, who's built himself a healthy gap up ahead. All this battling and jostling for position for these guys has allowed him to pull clear.
Oh, that's aggressive from Barbakov. He thought about it into the kink, but he's going to run wide here and try and get a really good exit out towards the kink.
Look who else has joined this battle. The man in P6 has also arrived, and look how close these guys are. It's
Ivanov
so
was
close.
all the way on the grass there on the exit.
Yeah,
he's given it everything, trying to keep up with or catch up with these guys.
Barbakov sends one up the inside, but he was fortunate there that he didn't miss his breaking point. He would have simply T-boned Magauji off the circuit. But also, we have to think about the potential for pit stops coming in fairly soon. We're on lap 5, quarter of the way through this race. So 3 stoppers will be into the pits now or in the next lap. And the 2 stoppers, well, it looks like everyone's staying out. So I think these guys are probably trying a 2-stop. As George Whitehouse starts. Oh, sorry, no, this is lap 5. They're starting now. This is lap 5. They're starting now. So if you're 3 stopping, that's a bit of an early pit stop. Another yellow flag in sector 2, and Barbakov goes to the inside, goes for it. Whoa!
He's really aggressive with trying to make these moves, but he's kind of not giving it everything because
he's under pressure from Denahan behind again. Yeah, and Magauji closing the door on that inside. But that was, how did they not make contact? That was incredibly close.
Now Denahan's all over Barbakov.
Look at this.
Take the outside.
And it might well involve Magauji here as well. Denahan's pulled ahead slightly, but Barbakov with that crucial inside line. He's later on the brakes. A little bit of wheel banging,
but he's
and he pushes him off. He pushes him off the circuit, and Denahan will be getting ever more frustrated with Stoyan Barbakov at this point in time. This is getting very, very cagey at times. Barbakov still ahead of Denahan, but it's surely only a matter of time until Denahan finds a way through. He just has to find an inside line because Barbakov has always been pushing his rival wide to the outside and always holding on. And that time, when Denahan was able to corner and stay alongside, he got pushed off the circuit. Has he maybe found an opportunity here, though?
Oh, that's very sideways from Denahan.
Barbakov with a very interesting, to put it mildly, line through there, simply going for more of an exit. He's fully on the grass there, Barbakov. Ivanov as well. But Ivanov, again, Barbakov defensive to the inside line. Denahan on the outside line. Breaks a little bit earlier again, and Barbakov holds on.
Yeah, Barbakov's doing some really good defense here, but because these guys are battling, it's allowing Magauji and Leonov to get away, and Denahan's pushing him through the...
Yeah, he's practically pushing him through turn 13 there. You cannot get closer to the back of a car than that. I think Barbakov's tyres or something has gone on that car because he's lost the pace, and Denahan is harassing him all over. And Barbakov, is he going to be able to hold on again? It defends the inside line. Denahan looking for the toe, switches to the outside line, and Barbakov, is he going to push him wide? Denahan going for a switchback, bumps his rival again. And this is allowing Viktor Ivanov to come into the fight as well. And Denahan trying to find the outside line. Barbakov closing that door. That is borderline just before the breaking point. Denahan's got a wonderful exit. Oh, he almost loses control and somehow saves the car and has still kept his chances of getting this position alive. But Viktor Ivanov, his teammate, is all over these guys as well. Pushing him down the straight is Denahan. Goes to the outside again, does Denahan. But Barbakov will not be overtaken and still holds 4th place. And both these guys squirming around now. Denahan again feinting to the inside but backing out of it. And this is all allowing Magauji and Leonov to just pull away up ahead. This is not what these guys want in the long term. But Denahan still can't find a way past.
Yeah, he's really got to start to get aggressive. He's just kind of going to the outside each time. It's very predictable. He needs to be a little bit creative here. Maybe just try and surprise him with the overtake, and ends up forcing Barbakov to kind of get spooked and make a mistake. That's kind of what he's got to do here because he's not able to get past him in more of a normal means. But Barbakov's opened the gap back up to 5 or almost 6 tenths here. So maybe Denahan's overheated his tyres trying to work his way back up, and I think Barbakov might even be closing in on Magauji now.
He is closing in on Magauji, yep, so it seems that it's not all over for them, and now we have to think about pit stops as well. But anyway, through the last corner, is anyone going to come into the pits? Ivan Leonov is pitting, and Barbakov, both of them pitting, and Viktor Ivanov as well, so and Whitehouse has pitted too. So I was about to say every even-numbered driver in the top 6 pitted, but the race leader has come into the pit, so that now means that Owen Magauji leads the race from Jake Denahan. And for Denahan, this is critical now, because if he gets a good lap in, he'll jump Barbakov, because he certainly seems to be the faster driver. Whitehouse stops in his box. Quite lengthy pit stops in NASCAR, of course, certainly longer than most open-wheel categories. I don't think Whitehouse would have had any damage, and he is away. And almost makes contact there. Almost makes contact. I don't know who that was. I think it was... Who was that? I think it was either...
That was Kumade.
It was Eric Kumade in the Valle. That was unbelievably close to a pit lane incident, and that would have certainly dented his lead, at the very least.
So
Leonov rejoins in
still
8th
ahead
place.
of Barbakov, so they came out the same order as they came in, and I think
That gap's
Leonov's pulled
pretty consistent.
yeah, might have pulled a little bit more of Barbakov there in other pit stops.
Yeah. And now we have to keep a watchful eye on the guys who stayed out, of course. So Owen Magauji and Jake Denahan, especially because those guys were close to the respective cars of Leonov and Barbakov, who've both pitted. And Denahan running wide through the carousel, much better through the kink. And he's actually closed in, I think, a little bit on Owen Magauji here. So he's clearly got some pace about him. Of course, qualified third, but not the best of starts. Dropped down to 5th place, and since then was stuck behind the bumper of Stoyan Barbakov. But he's really closed in on Owen Magauji here on this current lap. And that's Victor Ivanov behind, who I thought actually pitted, but he must have pretended to do so. Must have fainted at the last moment. And now Magauji and Denahan, they're both going to be in the pits this lap. Yeah, in they come. Ivanov too. In they all come.
So it's going to be interesting if they can overcut here, because they're going to be light on fuel, obviously, but more worn tyres. Maybe, especially with the colder tyres for the guys who pitted last lap, those cold tyres might have made them slow off the first 2 or 3, 4 corners, and that's going to allow these guys to catch.
We saw through Watkins Glen, it took over a lap for the tyres to heat up, and sometimes someone would come out 3 or so seconds ahead, and then it would be completely gone within a lap and a half. But yeah, I think it's safe to assume that George Whitehouse is going to maintain his lead, provided he doesn't have a huge off. And we'll be able to see him passing by fairly soon. There he is. Through he goes. Denahan's had a good stop, and this is going to be close. I think he might well... They're going to be side by side. Wait, is that Ivanov? Has he done his pit stop? He has.
With an incredible 8.7
Ivanov has got both of them. Now Denahan passes Magauji. So Magauji, they've swapped places. They've swapped the order. So masterful work in the pits by Victor Ivanov. He maintains 4th. Maybe Denahan and Magauji had a bit of damage that they might have forgotten to repair. But the big thing is that they've all lost not just track position, but a huge amount of time to Stoyan Barbakov and Leonov. Look at them up ahead. You can hardly see Leonov in the shot. He's disappeared up the road, and to think that he was right with Owen Magauji, that's a bummer for him. Here comes Denahan though on his teammate down the inside. He's not wasting any time, bit of a lock up, but through he goes, and Denahan takes 4th place. And once again, the car ahead of him is Stoyan Barbakov, and now Ivanov is all out of shape and under pressure from Magauji.
Yeah, we're really impressive from Denahan there. He knows that cold tyres can make mistakes, and he really needs to pounce now while the tyres are cold, rather than wait for both of them to heat their tyres up and ends up getting into a rhythm. He needs to pounce immediately, and he did just that, and now Magauji's going to try and do the same thing to Ivanov.
He's all over him. He is all over Ivanov, and Ivanov off a lot of curb and grass coming out of the corner. It hasn't compromised him too much, but Magauji is there, waiting to pounce on one more mistake. 3/10 as they come through the kink. But Ivanov's got a tow from the car up ahead, so it's more difficult for Magauji to pass than it would be if he didn't. That tow pulling Ivanov along and maintaining a gap behind to Magauji, there or thereabouts. But at the front, George Whitehouse continues to lead this race. Ivan Leonov 2nd, Stoyan Barbakov now 3rd. And we have to monitor the gaps between Barbakov and Denahan. Remember, the longer the stint goes on, theoretically, the faster these guys will become relative to those ahead of them, because they're on fresher rubber.
Magauji could have a chance here down into turn 1. He's going to look to the inside.
Down the inside.
Just not far
backs
enough.
out of it.
Doesn't have enough on an overlap. So he backs out of it.
Ivanov didn't take a very good line. Someone's gone off.
Someone's gone off.
It's Kevin Viches, and you almost got collected by all 3 of them, and that certainly would have given them a bit of a scare. Magauji's all over the back of Ivanov, who again dips a wheel into the grass, loses a little bit of speed, and now through the small kinks of 3 and 4, I think this could be it for Owen Magauji. Can he pull this one off? Ivanov doesn't defend the inside. He's presented a perfect opportunity for Magauji to go for it. And it's a huge lockup from Leonov, but he manages to hold the position just about. Good defending in the end, but his tyres will be screaming.
That's unorthodox.
He set one up the inside there, Magauji. If he can pull this one off, he has to go around the outside here, though. This is going to be tight.
And pulls it off. He's got his car ahead, but he's got to hold it up on the inside here.
He's now got the inside line for turn 7. Through he goes. eccentric pass from Owen McGougy. That's the move of the race, maybe even the season so far, without a doubt. That was astonishing from Owen McGougy, and now he can set his sights on Jake Dennehan. Ivanov doesn't seem to have the pace to keep up with these guys. He needs them to start battling again, then he'll close in. But he doesn't seem to have the measure of them, and Barbakov is being caught rapidly by Jake Dennehan. That's for the final spot on the podium, remember? As Leonov is disappearing. You could see him there. He's already negotiated Canada Corner. He's already negotiated turn 13 as well.
Yeah, Leonov
he's
has
disappeared.
A 3.5 second gap to Barbakov. And then Dennehan is going really fast on this lap and is caught all the way up to Barbakov.
Yeah, he's within. He's got the toe now from Stoyan Barbakov.
To see the last laps.
He might even be closer. This is almost the perfect position because he doesn't have to. But he's not going to catch Barbakov too early. He's going to have an almighty
2.5 seconds faster that last lap. Dennehan
it's a new best lap of the race. New best lap of the race. Oof. For the move to the inside again. Barbakov makes a mistake, and through goes Dennehan. He's finally overtaken the moving brick wall that was Stoyan Barbakov, and Barbakov knows that he cannot let him disappear. He feinted to the inside, but went back to the outside. I think, is his last chance. He has to do this into turn 5 if he wants to make sure he can stay with him.
Too big of a gap. Dennehan is on rails.
He's rapid,
flying right now. This is incredible pace.
Absolutely incredible pace, yeah. There's a battle behind McGougy holding off Ivanov, and there, Dennehan was able to he's well ahead of Barbakov as they exit turn 5, and he now sets his sights on his teammate up ahead, and then eventually, if he can, George Whitehouse, but that gap is pretty substantial to Whitehouse, as we are half distance in this race. We are on lap 10 off 20. So pit stops will be coming around again for these guys very, very shortly. McGougy still with that gap. It's pretty consistent actually to Ivanov, so maybe I was a bit wrong about him not having the pace, but they've already caught up to Barbakov. Barbakov's struggling, and he's all over the road. He's wide. He's going to lose a lot of speed coming through the carousel. He's lost so much time to Dennehan, who passed him, 4 corners ago?
Yeah, Barbakov's last lap was a 2:02.4, which is the slowest lap time in the top 9. So it's a really bad lap for Barbakov. And
not even just the top 6.
That he's just not been able to get going on these set of tyres. He's really weird. He was holding, keeping pace in the first stint, and then put these new tyres on, filled it up with fuel again, and he's just nowhere. I don't know what's going on with Barbakov, whether he got some damage or something. You never know. He might have clipped a curb wrong, got some suspension damage or something. But he's just got no pace. We'll have to see what this lap time is.
He could have changed his strategy and gone for a 2-stop. I highly doubt it, but it would explain.
So
it would explain why his pace is struggling. Here comes McGougy now to the outside, and Barbakov defending the inside line, but he's not going to be able to pull all that defense off. Owen McGougy with another show-stopping overtake, again around the outside, and again in a corner you wouldn't normally see a pass around the outside of. For the second time this race, Owen McGougy has overtaken and moved himself up into 4th place. And Barbakov, it's not over yet for Barbakov. Here comes Ivanov. Victor Ivanov's Netrex goes to the inside. Oh, they touch, and Barbakov goes into the wall. And he's off the road.
Luckily didn't collect McGougy there.
Doesn't collect anyone. He's actually quite fortunate that his car spun around in the way it did, because he's able to get going quickly and actually hasn't lost a position there. But I don't know if that was Barbakov moving over on Ivanov or Ivanov misjudging his direction, but definitely some avoidable contact in the braking zone. And as you said, fortunate that he did not collect Owen McGougy up ahead. It would have been close. But yeah, and that sums up his stint pretty much. And he's now 6 seconds behind with tyres that will be far too hot for his liking. Just seeing that again here. So let's have a look. So Ivanov he goes to the inside here.
They just kind of
I think it's a mix. Yeah, I think it's a mix. I think Barbakov did move across on him, and Ivanov also moved a bit to the right, so they kind of moved into each other's path. Dennehan has closed this gap down to just 2 seconds between himself and Ivan Leonov, and we can have a look at the comparison of lap times here.
Dennehan cut the track last time, so he can't do that too much.
Yeah, he can't do that too often, or he's going to get a penalty. 1.9 seconds before,
6
and
tenths faster.
6 tenths faster,
101.3 that
7
last lap,
tenths,
and
7 tenths even.
yeah, and it's the same to race leader George Whitehouse. So
And Magauji and Ivanov aren't out of this yet either. They've actually managed to keep with him pretty modestly, despite all that happened on the last lap. The gap is still very, it's still very much in the realm of if he makes a mistake, I'm going to pass him. So we'll see. Barbakov is, though, I think, out of the fight for a podium. That's for sure.
yeah,
I cannot see him coming back and
as
getting
soon
one.
as Denahan kind of passed Babakov, there was no chance of him getting a podium. I don't know where his pace has gone. Leonov a bit wide there, and Denahan almost
Denahan
there on the
power. Over-rotating the car. As they come over the crest, under the Corvette bridge, and through turn 6 and turn 7. Down towards turn 8 and turn 9 at the carousel, and he's closed in 3 tenths in that sector alone, just in the first sector. Now through the left-hander of 8 and in towards the carousel. Leonov is going. I'm sure he's aware that he's being caught by the new boy at Netrex. Certainly looking to make an impression. He tells me he's already learnt quite a lot, having been there only a few weeks. And through the kink, they're going to cut the sector 2 split, and we'll see the gap was 1.697 seconds across the first split. It's 1.439, another 2 tenths out of Leonov, so half a second in total into Canada corner. And the gap to Whitehouse is increasing between him and Leonov. With Denahan, it's pretty much the same. So he needs to pass this Netrex up ahead fast if he wants to have any chance of overtaking Whitehouse. And I think it's pit stop time. I think some of these cars will be entering the pit lane very soon, unless they're two-stopping. No, I think everyone's two-stopping.
Yes, I would agree.
They've now started lap 13. Yeah, they've started lap 13 of 20. So there's 7 laps to go after this one. They would have done 7 laps. Sorry, they've done 8 laps on this set of tyres, some of these guys. And now Magauji and Ivanov are fighting right behind Denahan. Ivanov is looking for a way through. Ever since I said he doesn't have the pace, he's been harassing the back of the Scot all since that time. And now as they pass underneath the bridge, the Sargento Bridge, can he go for this? He's been in this position before and it ended in tears.
Yeah, he's definitely going to
round the outside. No, he's too far back. I think he'll go for the switchback though and go for it into turn. Oh, a bit of a squirm there. No chance.
Yeah, that was weird. Just kind of got right on his bumper and almost got scared or something. Just got a bit of a wiggle on and lost a couple of tenths on the exit there.
Yeah, he's still right up behind Magauji though. Still in a chance of getting that position. Even still in a chance of getting the podium. Denahan's pace has slowed ever so slightly, but he's still very much right behind Ivan Leonov. I think that gap is now under a second, actually. Between him and Leonov, well, it's very close to that. This gap here is just over half a second between Magauji and the Netrex behind. So we might well see undercuts from a couple of these guys, particularly the ones behind. Now, remember, Denahan and Magauji and Ivanov all pitted after Leonov did. So that might explain why Leonov's pace is dropping off. It's a battle for 11th place further behind. This is still for points, of course. Everyone who finishes will get points today. And Joe Gaustidis, both of these guys, in fact, involved in that turn 6 massacre on the first lap. And here comes Joe Gaustidis up the inside. Jones squirming a bit on the braking, leaves a bit of space, and through goes Gaustidis into 11th place past the AFP car. Back to the front. Has anything happened? Yes, George Whitehouse has pitted. The race leader for his second scheduled pit stop, I think second and final scheduled pit stop, and he's the only one. And Leonov too, and Barbakov.
Yeah, Leonov, Barbakov as well. So now Eric Kimade in. So
it's exactly the same.
Kimade and these drivers.
It's exactly the same as it was in the first round of pit stops. So George Whitehouse, hopefully, and all these guys too, Leonov too, hopefully that's the last time
slow start
that they enter the pits.
But
that's not what he needs.
Yeah, could bring Denahan in within this. He's now kind of being
not even just Denahan.
Inherited the race lead for this lap. Just past some traffic as well. I
He's been caught by Macalji and Ivanov quite substantially though. Look at that. Every lap they seem to get a bit closer, so maybe did Denahan burn his tyres out a bit too much in the first few laps, and now
he was going
this
incredibly fast.
this lap he's trundling around a little bit.
Yes, it's just this lap. Last lap was good, so I don't know if he's made a mistake.
He's wide through the carousel. He was wide in the last corner as well.
Yeah,
so I think his tyres have dried enough.
There, but last lap was good. Last lap was a 2:21. Actually, no, yeah. So he was 3/10 slower that last lap, sorry. And that's just kind of gone down even further this lap. So really bad lap.
Yeah.
This lap.
Magauji and Ivanov. Magauji and Ivanov look much faster, even through the kink there. Now into Canada corner. Let's see. All looks fine. With the dust coming from the brakes, though. And I think it's almost guaranteed that these guys are all going to pit together. Is Ivanov going to do it again and jump both of them? Denahan seems to be the best on the fresh, a bit fresh tyres, especially when they're cold. And in he comes into the pits, as does Magauji, as does Ivanov. The top three all come into the pits together. Who is going to come out in front from these guys? Is Ivanov going to jump both of them again? Is Magauji going to jump Denahan, or is Denahan going to hold? And then where do they come out relative to Leonov? We know Whitehouse is going to be leading this race. Once everything in the pits is done, Denahan stops in his box, looking good for him as the two ahead continue on down the pit lane. Another penalty awarded, this time to Diogo Moscato for a infringement. I don't know what for, but he's done something wrong. Denahan is out of his box.
9.5 seconds, so it's faster than Leonov's by a significant amount.
That's Magauji, though.
Like
Magauji has had the best stop and goes ahead. And here's Ivan Leonov, and he's jumped them. He jumps them. And he's increased his advantage over them a little bit there, too. And now they have to deal with the lapped car. I think that's Giuseppe Stella up ahead, who is lapped and will be obliged to get out of the way, especially because these guys are jostling for position. And this is allowing Leonov to pull ahead, too.
Denahan punted him. Denahan
gave
him a
punting him there. Denahan didn't see Stella braking so early, which of course meant that that Magauji had to brake early, and a punt now will not do their cars any good. And side by side coming under the bridge, Denahan tucks back in the situation, then pulls back out of it. He's going to the outside. Can he do what he couldn't do on Stoyan Barbakov on the fresh tyres? He's notoriously good on these fresh cold tyres, but he can't pull that move off for the time being. But Leonov now has to avoid what he did on the last stint, which was, well, he was too slow on the last stint and really got caught. He's used those fresh tyres to his advantage early on, but he has to try and maintain that gap for as long as he will, because these guys are going to close on him regardless of what happens. They're on fresher tyres. He just has to negate that impact as much as possible through the carousel. So it was a good stop from Magauji.
That up, and mistake from Denahan there at the exit of the carousel. So Magauji is looking good at this exact second. We'll have to, at the end of next lap, after compare it to Leonov to see whether they're closing or falling away from him.
Give me just a second. Alright, back quickly. But yeah, Denahan needs to pass Magauji as quickly as possible. We know he's faster on the fresh tyres, and he burnt them out, I think, too quickly last time. He's got a good chance here. They're coming over the crest, and someone was sideways in the background there. Let's have a look. Magauji knows he's there. He defends the inside line. Denahan forced to the outside. Breaks a little bit earlier than Magauji does, looking for the opportunity elsewhere. And he's done it perfectly.
That's already... Oh,
wonderful switch back, and Magauji almost puts him on the grass.
That's really, really aggressive by Magauji there. I think that's maybe a bit
he's
too
gone
much.
wide here as well. He's
gone
gone wide. Moscato's got another penalty, so I think he probably sped into the pit lane while he was serving his penalty for speeding.
Sort of issue maybe with the penalties in the podcast.
Yeah, but side by side now, Denahan pulling just ever so slightly ahead, and they're equal. They're completely equal on the brakes. Can he go around the outside? Turn 5. They're still side by side now. Turn 6. It's identical as it was to turn 5.
Magauji's going to force him off, but I think there's still an overlap just about.
Magauji's been here before. He's gone around the outside. He goes through. Magauji holds the position. Again, stout, fantastic defending from Owen Magauji, and Denahan can't find a way through, and this is all allowing... You can't even see Leonov in this frame anymore. He's just pulling away.
It's not what they need. I think Magauji wasn't even kind of that slow compared to Denahan. Denahan should kind of have waited and done a clean pass without all this side-by-side through multiple corners, because they probably could have lost 2 seconds, this lap. Just from going side-by-side like that. Yeah, you see Leonov just ahead, entering Canada corner about now.
It's 4 seconds to Leonov.
It's going to be bigger than 4 when they exit Sector 2, I think.
Yeah, probably will be. And Whitehouse's gap, I mean, it's probably best we don't even mention it. 14 seconds to these guys. There's no chance they're catching him as long as Whitehouse keeps all 4 of his wheels on the asphalt. And Ivanov is still in with a chance at this podium as well. This is, of course, for the last spot on the podium, so that has that added importance. And Magauji already moving aggressively to the inside. Denahan's got the toe. He's going to be forced to the outside line again, though, if he wants to make this pass. Here we go. Or is he trying to go to the inside, waiting for that pit wall to end, and then the road kind of widens up, and he's going to go for that same switchback, but he takes too much curb. Magauji sideways, but yeah, too much curb from Denahan, lost a lot of speed, and will have to wait for the opportunity into turn 5 instead of at turn 2. And Magauji sideways again.
Even with that battling last lap, these guys closed in a 10th on Leonov, so these guys are so much faster than Leonov, but they're just wasting it on each other. They should catch Leonov first and then battle.
Whoa, Denahan really wants the inside, but Magauji's not opening that door, and he forces him to the outside again. Denahan will go for the switchback, but again, turns in too early, takes too much curb and loses too much momentum. Magauji holds on to 3rd place again, but as you said, yeah, they're still closing in on Leonov, so imagine how fast they could go if they stopped battling. And of course, especially Denahan, wearing their tyres out, which means they have less for the end of the race. And Denahan goes for it. That was a bit of an opportunistic launch, and he knew it. And he backed out of that one sensibly. That was almost a horrible ending to what has been an impressive race from both of these guys. As they come through the carousel, it's lap 17 of 23 more laps to go after this one. And we'll see who can triumph in this battle for the final podium spot, and it might well become a battle for 2nd place too.
Corner. Denahan once again to
Magauji knows it. Defensive goes Magauji. He's late. He locked up. He locks up.
Still keeps the
and
position.
Denahan still.
But he's
still can't find a way through with them switchbacks.
Could be within. Yeah, pushing almost.
Yeah, he's pushing him.
It could bump him into the last corner if he wants to, but he doesn't. And
just like
gonna get really good slipstream out the last corner. Wiggle there. That's going to cost him on some straight line speed.
Is he too close? Is he too close to the back of Magauji though? Because he's going to catch him, but as soon as he pulls out, that speed is going to diminish. Let's see Magauji again. Absolutely no chance that Denahan's going to the inside line. And for the 3rd lap running, it's exactly the same with Denahan looking for that switchback. Too squirmish though. Until the inside, he's going to find.
He's there. He's got the overlap. Magauji's learned, but he doesn't send it. He's
late on the brakes at all. They almost make contact there through turn 2. Denahan is right on the back of Owen Magauji. He's practically bumping him down this straight. Magauji's already going defensive to the inside. Denahan's got the speed though, and he goes past Magauji on track just about. He's millimeters ahead. Magauji goes back in front as they head into the braking point. They're equal on the brakes. They're equal on the turning. Magauji pushing his rival off the circuit there. Had a bit of a snap of oversteer, and that meant that Denahan was going to be washed up wide because Magauji was going to sidestep into him, kind of. And Ivanov was close right up on these guys now. And Leonov is still being caught by them, but they only have 2 laps to go after this one. I think it's safe to assume that. Now. I think Leonov is going to hold on for 2nd place here if he keeps it on the road for his second place in a row, and that would mean the championship lead as well. Which sets us up very nicely for the final 2 oval races. And Denahan's lost a bit of time to Magauji here through the carousel. Needs to gain this back up through the kink and Canada corner. Very fast through there though, Ivanov too. And he'll have another go into turn 1, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, he's going to have to be turn 1 too far back here, and he's just going to kind of try and get a much better exit than he did last time through the last corner.
What could have been? What could have been for these guys? Another penalty awarded to Alex Hallows. But I think Denahan will be having a word with the stewards about that incident where he kind of got Mazepined. He kind of got pushed onto the grass when he was he alongside, or was Magauji defending fairly?
Because there was an overlap and Danahan was on the grass. I don't think Danahan would have gone on
So,
the grass if there wasn't an overlap.
Two laps to go, and Danahan's got an amazing run here. Is he going to be close enough to go for the
not
inside
close
line?
enough.
No, he backs out of it. Doesn't go for it. He didn't even go for it at all. Nothing to back out of, and he's sideways, and Magauji
sideways.
too. Ivanov's car is so much more planted through these corners than these two up ahead of him. On the exits, at least. On the entrances, he's a bit... look how straight Ivanov's car is compared to these two. He's very calculated in the way he's exiting these corners. Again, Magauji defending the inside line. Danahan sees an opportunity
find the gap, and Magauji realizes it's
narrows. The track narrows down, and he backs out of it, goes to the outside, going for the switch back towards turn 6. Magauji
Danahan throws it away.
He is onto the grass, and through goes his teammate. That almost happened to him earlier in the race, but this time he does clip the grass, and Ivanov goes through with just over a lap and a half to go. Danahan, is that his chances for the podium gone? Has he blown it away, trying to go for the switchback? And now Magauji, it's the same team but different driver behind him, and Ivanov's tyres, I think, would be the best out of all these guys. They all pitted at the same time, but he hasn't been jostling for position. He's been biding his time behind them. The sensible thing to do, and now can he pounce? He's got the most experience out of all these guys, and he's using all of it here. Magauji, bit of grass on the inside there and on the outside.
Danahan's overdriving here, I think.
Yeah, I think he's destroyed his tyres. They're too hot probably, and he's definitely out of contention for a podium unless these guys bang into each other in a colossal way.
The gap's
all going to come down to the last lap.
Traffic ahead of Leno, so this could be really close on this last lap. If Magauji pulls out an amazing lap, or even if you manage to pass him.
If he manages to pass him, yeah.
Okay, traffic.
Leonov has passed the lap car though. He's passed the traffic, and now they've got to do it. Danahan all out of shape out the last corner. Yeah, his tyres are gone for sure. He's dropping back severely now. But here comes Ivanov, and Magauji doesn't have the benefit of knowing what Ivanov does when he's racing. Here he comes to the outside. He's in the shadow of these guys the entire stint, but he's going for the podium here on the last lap, going for a similar switchback move. But again, Magauji too good on the exit for Ivanov to do anything into turn 2. Now,
he's pushing him and he turns him.
He's putting it to a spin. Around goes Owen Magauji, and Ivanov goes onto the podium.
Magauji full 360 and down to 5th place.
And Danahan goes through, and Ivanov is surely going to get a penalty for that, which means that Danahan will probably be on the podium. And there goes it is promising to be an amazing battle down all the way through. If we can, we'll see a replay of it. But yeah, I said Danahan, there's no way he's getting a podium unless there is a colossal mix-up between the two of them, and that it could have been a lot worse, but not what we want to see on the final lap as well. Magauji has driven a brilliant race.
But yeah,
so here we go.
So Magauji gets a wiggle on actually, and kind of slightly sideways. Ivanov tries to go up the inside and just kind of makes contact with that right rear while he's sliding, which just completely turns him around.
And Ivanov continues on his way. I'm sure he'd like to give that position back, but it would be losing even more time. And is a lap car. So George
for Ivanov, so Danahan could actually get a really good run and maybe try and get back 3rd place there.
But further up ahead, I think we haven't mentioned him at all because there's been nothing to mention other than the fact that he has been exceptional all day. And George Whitehouse comes over the crest for the final time and takes the checkered flag at Road America and wins round 2 of the season. Flawless drive, led every lap apart from 2, and that's because of the pit stops. Ivan Leonov will take 2nd place and the championship lead. And it is side by side, and I think Ivanov.
Yeah, I think he might have given
that. I think he might have given that place up to his teammate in his first race for the team. Jake Danahan takes 3rd place. Owen Magauji will be disappointed to be 5th after what was a brilliant drive, but still a pretty good result. But assuming that there will be penalties applied to Ivanov. 6th place, he fell away from the front at the end, but Stoyan Barbaco, that's still a good result for him in 6th. And Eric Kumide for Valet, their best finish of the season in 7th place. Well done to all the drivers who make it to the checkered flag on what is the most difficult track on the calendar. Harry Smith comes home 8th again, just like he did 2 weeks ago. Alfie Bevan will be next across the line in 9th. His tyres are finished. He's squirming all over the place, looking for every ounce of grip he can on this track. But some excellent racing, some excellent battling at the front. Didn't see so much of it at the rear because everything was happening up front, and in the end, quite an anticlimactic way to end the battle for the podium, I think. It's a shame, but that's racing sometimes. Bevan takes 9th place. Gausdis has a good recovery from plumb last at the end of the first lap because of all the incidents to 10th place. That's a very good effort from him.
Almost
if he can make it to the line,
corner.
if he can make it to the line, yeah.
Just giving us a show while he's on the podcast.
And Alex Hallows will come home in 11th place by the looks of it, just ahead of the AFP of Sean Jones. And that's it. That's Road America then. That was 20 laps of the 4-mile course. And now that's the end of the road course races, and we are on to the ovals. Talladega up next, and then the grand season finale at Daytona. It's the one the drivers all want to win. But a superlative performance from George Whitehouse today. Didn't put a single foot wrong.
Yeah, he just pulled away from the field from turn 1 on lap 1 and could not be caught by anyone. Denhau had about 1 lap where he was the fastest car on track, but apart from that, Whitehouse was just pulling that gap, and probably after lap 5 or so was just kind of just managing his race and, kind of just like it was practice with no one else on the track. Just didn't think of anyone else and just brought it home. A really good race by Whitehouse. No pressure, and let's get some good, valuable 40 points for him into the other races.
Yeah. And that means that Ivan Leonov, as already mentioned, will take the championship lead. The only guy who was on the podium last week to feature again today. Of course, his main rival, Carlos Martin, and teammate, didn't come to the race today. Hopefully he can make it to the last 2. Jake Dennehan, podium on his first outing of the season and first outing for Netrex. I don't think he did anything worthy of a penalty in that race, so I think that's the podium pretty much secured. Victor Ivanov just ahead of Owen McGougy, but there will be an investigation into that, I'm sure. Stoyan Barbakov 6th, Eric Kumide 7th, Harry Smith 8th, Alfie Bevan 9th, and Joe Gaustadis rounds out the top 10. So, if drivers want some, we can have some interviews. Was that a better race than Watkins Glen? I would say so.
Dude, that was kind of 4 cars battling it out for 20 laps. That was some really good racing by the guys at the front. And they should... apart from that contact on the last lap there was pretty much all clean. A couple of bumps and bangs here and there, but apart from, like I said, that last lap, nothing was really, no harm, no foul on it. It was good racing, and yeah, really impressive show by these guys.
Indeed. So just waiting if anyone wants an interview. If not, we can end the stream, end the broadcast. We will be back next week for the first oval race, of course. And we will keep you up to date on the penalty situation. Might well have an impact on the final standings. But yeah, it doesn't look like anyone wants an interview, so I think we will wrap it up then for today. It's been a pleasure commentating over this race with you, Jacob. I hope you had as much fun as I did. And we will see you next week for Talladega. First oval race. It's going to be a completely different experience for these drivers. And I very much hope that Jacob's going to be there, because I'm not going to be very useful in terms of the technical side, because I don't watch oval racing very much. But yeah, we will see you in a